Christmas time is once again upon us, dearest of friends. That very blessed time of year where we spend cheery moments with our loved ones, exchanging gifts, chugging eggnog, and simply just being merry in this most wonderful time of year. I believe everyone out there has their favorite Christmas movie, of course. Perhaps your favorite is the classic A Christmas Story, or perhaps National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation is more your speed. Or, if you're cool like me, your favorite Christmas movie is all-time great Jingle All the Way. Regardless of your answer, you obviously have an answer for this, but I'll pose to you a different question. Do you have a favorite Christmas video game? I pondered this question myself after randomly posing it to a coworker. He couldn't come up with an answer. Honestly, I couldn't really come up with a good answer myself. Like, really. I thought pretty hard about it, too. And I'm quite the thinker, after all. Like, Parasite Eve takes place during Christmas, and that game's pretty sweet. I think Blue Stinger takes place during Christmas as well. The shops in this town are super Christmassy, and so is the music, too. Would you count that Nightmare Before Christmas game as one? That game was in the vein of a Devil May Cry game, which I thought was such an odd combo for that particular property. Dead Rising 4 takes place during Christmas, but fuck that game, ruined the franchise completely. I guess if I had to pick one, I'd pick Parasite Eve, but I reviewed that already, so let's play a different horror game that takes place on Christmas. Infected? Well, I might be stretching it a tiny bit by calling it a horror game, but there's zombies. I mean, hey, it counts, doesn't it? Infected is an action horror title that saw release on the PlayStation Portable on November 15th of 2005. This game was another product of Planet Moon Studios, and since they made Armed and Dangerous, a game that I genuinely love, I wanted to give this game a shot as well. Infected was produced by Majesco, and in addition to a single-player campaign, featured online multiplayer provided by the GameSpy service. Yeah, you remember that shit at all? Swear to God, that got used on almost every online game back in the day. Unfortunately, it's long since dead, so I won't be talking about the multiplayer components of this game, even though apparently beating other players in this mode would make their infected avatar show up in your game. Pretty cool feature if it's true, honestly. Infected opens up on a quaint snowy night in New York City. The denizens of the Big Apple have gathered to watch the lighting of that huge Christmas tree in Midtown Manhattan. The mayor here happily announces that the tree will be lit by this crippled orphan boy. Wheelchair Willie here rolls up to the lever, pulls it to light that baby up, bringing holiday joy to all the attendees. Oh, it also lights up this group of flesh-tearing, brain-eating zombies, and all hell promptly breaks loose.
Oh, shit.
Can't lie, I love how the kid in the wheelchair desperately flips the lights on and off in an attempt to make the zombies disappear. It's damn good comedy once again from Planet Moon. Also, not sure what got rid of the mayor's butthole here, but man, sure does suck to be him. This is promptly dubbed as the worst shopping season ever by New York News, and you hit the main menu thereafter. Start the game off, you create a character, giving them a first name, and being able to pick out an avatar with some limited customization options for each of your starter avatars, on top of, skin tone selection, and you even get to pick from a handful of countries to hail from, as well as more local stuff like states, cities, and provinces. There's also quite a lot of unlockable avatars to earn as well, but we'll get to those in a bit. After finishing up your in-game avatar, you're immediately introduced to the New York bio team, who inform you that you're immune to the virus. And not only are you immune to the virus, you are so fucking immune to that virus that even if a drop of your blood enters the body of an infected person, they will violently explode. They also run you through the basics of the game here. Shoot the zombies with your normal gun until they're weak, and then inject them with your blood via the bio gun. If multiple weakened infected are close to one another, one bio bullet will cause a chain reaction, killing every nearby infected. Neat. After this, you're dropped into the map screen and introduced to your two supporting cast members, Dr. Schaefer.
If you need me, I'll be in the bathroom taking the largest crap of my life.
And Commissioner Burgess.
Mr. Schaefer, Officer Stevens, I need you to stay strong. We're New York's only hope. We can't have you turning into women's blouses while we're in the driver's seat. Do you hear me? Now, I need a minute.
Oh God! What am I gonna do? Everyone's counting on me!
Who will both be a constant in your quest to call NYC of the infected and save the city. Beginning Mission 1, Infected gives you an objective screen with a shit ton of information, but really all you need to know is this and this. Mission 1 is the simplest of missions. Kill the infected here as fast as possible, and so you drop into Midtown and the game begins. So let's talk about the gameplay here really quick. Infected is an incredibly manic over-the-shoulder shooter. That brief tutorial actually summing up the basic gameplay very well. Shoot zombies, then splat them. Your character, Officer Stevens, automatically acquires targets that come close so you can comfortably just focus on shooting your guns. You can run around, and you have a sprint to help you cover more ground quickly. You also have a lock-on button which enables the ability to strafe your selected target. And that's pretty much it at the start. Auto 9, Biogun, basic zombies, but don't worry, things get a little bit crazier. As you progress through the game, you'll unlock additional weapons and upgrades for Officer Stevens, ones you can purchase with cold hard cash, affectionately referred to in-game as hazard pay. Remember those medals on that first screen? Those medals, gold, silver, and bronze, give you different amounts of hazard pay, which is how you afford your character's upgrades. You also need to medal missions in order to unlock later missions in the game as well. As you earn your hazard pay, you'll unlock a shotgun, an MP5, an RPG, and lastly the BMFG, which I can only assume stands for Blushing Man Farts Gently. You'll also be able to upgrade the damage of each of these as the game progresses too. Interestingly, you're unable to swap through your unlocked weapons by default, instead having to fill up a murder gauge first, earning your way up to the BMFG with constant violence. You can switch through weapons after filling each gauge, but once you unlock the bigger weapons, are you really gonna switch back to your rinky-dink pistol? In addition to your guns, you also have a grenade launcher with 3 different types of ammo. Boom, fire boom, and even bigger boom. You'll also be able to acquire a chainsaw! I don't know if the chainsaw makes you invincible, but goddamn does it make you feel that way for sure. You'll be needing all this firepower as well as you tackle the 35 missions spread across 5 different areas of New York. Throughout these missions, you'll be tasked with a variety of objectives to complete, ranging from killing all the zombies, protecting military personnel, and even rescuing civilians. Weird to say that I actually like the civilian rescue missions the most, mainly because those missions are the easiest ones to make money on, since you can carry an unlimited amount of civilians on your person, and even better, if you arrive in an area where civilians are present, they will all immediately begin running towards you for safety for a fairly easy rescue. Smartest civilian AI ever. Though you do have to get them back to a helicopter, which can complicate things, but really, still pretty easy. But this game isn't a total cakewalk in Central Park. At a base, the zombies in this game are pretty fast. Pukers will serve as unliving artillery pieces that chip you down from a range, while the normal Zeds will attack in melee. These zombies also have the ability to wield chainsaws to slash your guts up with too. They'll also wield rocket launchers as well. Then there's these big boys who are absolute brick shithouses that will crap out damage if they hit you with either their melee swipes or by literally ripping pieces of their guts out and tossing them at you. Making them even more threatening though is even after you blast them with your biogun, this merely destroys all their flesh, leaving only a giant skeleton in its wake, which also attacks you, but you can just shoot that one to death normally. Complicating things far more are 2 different things. One being that the zombies are not relegated to just one area of the map. They will roam. They will enter new areas to chase you or to kill civilians, meaning it's quite possible to get swarmed the second you enter a new area if you're not careful. The second being is every zombie's ability to go berserk, which honestly, that's kind of how the game counterplayed my rushing to certain areas to grab all the civilian strategy. You see, if you screw around too much without killing the zombies in each area, they will get pissed off and go berserk, making them run faster, do more damage, and just be far more of a menace than typical. And since these enemies are hard to kill, that means it's hard to chalk up kills for your greater weapons. Not to mention, it's just very easy to get overwhelmed by a Zerkin horde. Thankfully though, dying isn't that big of a deal. If you go down, you're just down for a couple extra seconds. Though I will add, if you are carrying any civilians with you when you die, all those civilians are promptly slaughtered. So that can definitely put a damper on things for sure, but let's get back to some gameplay now. Excuse me, Slipknot? What does that mean? Oh right, apparently every member of Slipknot is unlockable for use as an avatar in-game. This is most likely because Slipknot is featured prominently as one of the contributors for the game's soundtrack. Oh yeah, the OST for this game fucking rocks. Nothing but super hard metal blasting into your ears as you slaughter oceans of flesh eaters. I cannot fathom a better type of music to do that with. Aside from Slipknot, in fact, it also features tracks from Chimera, Trivium, El Nino, The Agony Scene, Fear Factory, Junkie XL, and Pimp X. All in all, great tracks. I approve. In addition to Slipknot as playable characters though, you also have Mark Hunter from Chimera and Rain from Blood Rain. Yeah, you remember that middling franchise that somehow produced 3 games and 3 movies to go with it? Why she's in this game though? Not entirely sure, but I've gotten too far away from the point of this review, the game, so let's get back to that. Combat-wise, I'd say Infected plays just fine, but your turn speed is agonizingly slow. If you ever find yourself being flanked by the Walking Dead, or even worse, being hit from behind, the best option is to sprint forward to get clear, and then turn to face your foes. You do have the ability to do a 180 with a simple flick of the D-pad, which works fine, but I just wish the game kept my momentum going forward a little bit when I did this. It would benefit a lot from having actual dedicated strafe buttons as well, instead of just being able to do it while locked on onto a target. I like Officer Stevens having the auto lock-on to make things a lot less complicated on top of that dedicated lock-on button, but not having a way to switch targets manually, barring just letting go of the lock-on button and praying to Christ it locks onto the right target when you press it again. But this is on PSP. It's not like there was a wealth of buttons here, so they probably just did their best with what was available. These drawbacks don't really sink the game at all, though. Honestly, I had a lot of fun playing this title since it's just pretty damn mindless, but I rather enjoy games that involve slaughtering hundreds of enemies, especially in this one with how they pop like balloons. That's what we're all here, though, for, obviously. How does this game rate on the humor scale versus Armed and Dangerous?
Right on it.
Who are you people? Get out of here.
We have a field trip from the Julia White School. This has been scheduled for 6 months.
We're in the middle of a national crisis here.
We've been breached. He's infected.
Please stop! Timmy? Timmy! 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 He's dead! You bastard! Our school is for people with severe mental retardation. He was only trying to ask you a question.
Really? Boy, is my face red.
Honestly, it's quite alright. I don't think it's as funny as Armed and Dangerous was, but it has its moments. There's also some pretty funny bits with the news anchor, Diane.
Like a beacon shining over all New York, the Rockefeller Christmas tree still stands tall, ornamented in all its...
Diane, those are dead people.
A big Merry Christmas from the NY View News team to all our younger viewers. See you at 11.
There's also a pretty good bit with this fellow named Tom Wiley who runs the Zombie Aid concerts. Basically a dumbass with dumbass followers who thinks the zombies are still human for some ungodly reason. Or rather, he just likes to point out that they don't even know it's Christmas. Thankfully, the doc gives what's coming to him.
You're all murderers, baby killers.
Let me handle this, sir.
What are you doing? Oh, they are zombies, you English prick! Zombies! I'm Irish.
Oh, yeah? You want some more?
Huh? Keep talking!
If you know what's good for you, you'll just lie there and bleed.
This is what I wanted to do to all those dumbasses from Cure and Dead Rising 2. Even better, Tom Riley does a news interview thereafter, and he still has all the signs of the beating he was given. Also, big fan of the children's hand puppet show being interrupted by gory news footage of the zombie attack. Good times. As for the story itself, though, it's pretty simple, and as a result, it's kinda sparse. As far as I can tell, the outbreak was caused by the consumption of mad cow tainted meat. Thankfully, though, due to your heroic efforts, the infection is cleared entirely out of New York, saving the city. The rest of the US still seems to be fucked, though, unfortunately. Christmas is saved, however, so that's good. Infected ends with an aerial shot of the blood and gore-soaked streets of New York, while Zombie Aid's #1 hit plays in the background. And that's Infected. An odd Christmas game, but a Christmas game nonetheless. It was a pretty fun little game, honestly. In truth, a totally mindless shoot-'em-up with some humorous bits sprinkled throughout the game to help keep things spicy and entertaining. The controls are a bit meh, but it's not something I consider bad enough to sink the title entirely. Though I won't lie, it was pretty short. My playthrough only took around 3 hours. I got all the upgrades for my weapons in this playthrough as well, so it's not like I speedran it or anything. Regardless, if you want to blow some time away this Christmas with a Christmas-themed game, well, give Infected a shot. Why not? You got nothing to lose. Anyway, though, I shall sign off on this video now. As always, dearest of viewers, my name is HadesManticore, and this here channel is CityStateManticore. Thanks a ton for watching if you did. Leave a like and a comment, and feel free to subscribe as well. It would make my Christmas all the more warmer if you did. Be sure to have a Merry Christmas, a Happy Hanukkah, a Quasi Kwanzaa, a Tip-Top Tet, and a solemn, dignified Ramadan. I'll see y'all in the next video. Goodbye.